for that. Bringing our panel, joining me now here in Canberra, Grahame Morris from Barton Deakin, and in the Sky News Centre, Bruce Hawker, the former federal Labor strategist. Thank you both very much for joining us. So, Bruce, another batch of opinion polls, none of them good. In fact, the Nielsen poll has Labor dropping now to 29% primary support. They do a lot better, says the poll, with Kevin Rudd at the helm. Is that going to spell a leadership change?
Well, yeah, one half of you says you'd think so, given the obvious support that there is for Kevin Rudd out in the electorate, but given that this thing has just dragged on and on and on interminably, and there's been no real sign of change, I'm not at all confident that there would be a change, David. Notwithstanding the fact that at 50-50, Kevin Rudd would be just 2 points below the percentage that he received when he was deposed as leader in 2010 and before he's actually gone out and done any campaigning.
Yeah, but it's, 50-50, you'd end up with another hung parliament. You'd want to have Kevin Rudd looking like he's going to win the election to change back to him, surely.
Yeah. Well, polls in the past have shown that he's far and away the most popular political figure in Australia, and I wouldn't expect that that would be any different if he were the leader. Of course, we're talking academically because he's ruled out that option. But for my part, I've never really understood why we haven't gone down the return Kevin Rudd route.
Yeah. Look, you've been close with Kevin Rudd. Have you spoken to him much about it lately?
I've been talking to him, talking to a lot of people about it. But he's
You're trying to convince him?
He's a pretty sanguine sort of a fellow.
Right. Are you trying to convince him to perhaps break his commitment not to challenge?
Oh, I've always been of the view that Kevin Rudd should take on the leadership of the party, that it's in such a dire state at the moment that we really do need somebody to come out and lead us out of this terrible problem. And
does that commitment mean much at the end of the day? I mean, if it had to be broken, it would have to be broken.
Well, I think my view is that Kevin Rudd really requires overwhelming support from within the party to do the job he has to do to really take the fight up to Tony Abbott. That's
the sticking point there, Grahame, isn't it? Getting the overwhelming support of the party isn't easy in any circumstance, really, to get senior figures in particular, and the ones that are being talked about are Bill Shorten, Penny Wong, Greg Combay, Jenny Macklin, to go and tap the PM. I mean, it's a big ask.
It is, look, but we all know what should happen. And we all know that, 20 feet from this studio, all around Parliament House, there are guns pointed everywhere. And then they look and they haven't got any triggers. Simon Crean, I thought, was magnificent last time when he grew a backbone and said, look, follow me, let's have a challenge. But who is the Simon Crean of June? Nobody. There's nobody with a backbone. Everyone knows that the Prime Minister should go. Those polls are absolutely disgraceful. But, everyone is dancing around on little pansies and being prissy. This is politics, fellows. You're actually meant to win. And here they are, just fatalistically going over a blinking cliff. Well, why?
Grahame, what about the argument that Labor was punished for doing it last time? They were punished in New South Wales for the revolving door leadership. Doing it again would simply be reinforcing that?
Every blinking poll. Look, as a Liberal, I hope they stay where they are. Please, fellas, don't do anything. Don't do anything. But as a great believer in a strong two-party system in this country, I think she's got to go. And one more thing that people might have forgotten. Part of next week is out unless they want to have a coup without her, because we've got Hazel Hawke's funeral, memorial, on Tuesday next week. So that wrecks part of next week, the sort of last week when the Parliament's sitting. So if anyone's going to have a go...
Because a number of people will be at the...
including the Prime Minister.
At the memorial.
I suppose you could have a coup without her. Good idea,
I'm not sure if that's been confirmed that she is going, but...
is it?
Well, whether the Prime Minister's attending or not. I'm not sure. We'll check that out. But Bruce, one of the other startling or standout things about the poll was the drop in support amongst male voters in particular. Following on from all the stuff we talked about so much last week, and it really kicked off by Julia Gillard with that blue ties speech. Was that a big mistake?
Well, if you look at those polls, you'd have to say so. I mean, there's been a collapse in the male vote, and you know, I'd like to sit here and say that I thought that it was a very astute move, but I can't really see it when I see those sorts of numbers being produced in the polling. So. And unfortunately, it didn't even seem to attract the support of a lot of the feminist commentariat. I mean, Eva Cox and others were quite critical. So
they were very critical.
I think they mishandled it because it means that they're closing off an opportunity really to talk more about Tony Abbott, not so much as the big anti-abortionist, but a fellow who's got some pretty mid-20th century ideas. And I think it was probably more an issue for the last campaign really than this one. I think Labor's really just got to focus on core Labor policy areas. They've got to go back to the NDIS. They've got to go back to education, health, the things that they, are generally well regarded for. We talk about these, people coming out with just pre-recorded sort of lines, but I don't even see that, to be honest with you. I think, you could have a much more consistent message coming out from Labor right now about, the things that really distinguish it from Tony Abbott.
Mm. Now, I have just got confirmation through from the PM's office that Julia Gillard will be attending that Hazel Hawke memorial service. So just to clear that one up, and thank you for that. Graham, I know you're wearing the blue tie today. Any accident there? It's become a bit of a bumper sticker campaign now, hasn't it, funnily enough?
It is an accident. I just happened to think it was the right tie for today. But something that I did find curious, for a Prime Minister to go to that women's meeting, well, that wasn't too bad, but she was always going to run into trouble. But to say the things she did, and then for her office to release it to the media, was just absolutely bizarre. And the other thing, those poor women that are there, Women for Gillard, they pay a membership for that, and they give the Labor Party their credit card. Who on earth, in their right mind, poor misguided people, would give the Labor Party a credit card? Look what they've done to the National credit card. God, blimey.
Well,
I think the national economy is actually in pretty good shape. It's just one of the things that we just keep hearing from the Liberals all the time. Unemployment low, debt as a percentage of gross domestic product low. These are the sort of things that they should really go out and start talking about much more aggressively.
I think they were trying to do that today, but in Parliament, but without a great deal of success in terms of getting that onto the agenda just at the moment. I also note, I read in the Fairfax press today that the president of the board of the Women for Gillard group is actually Chloe Bryce, Bill Shorten's wife, is president of the Women for Gillard board. So read into that what you will as everyone speculates where Bill Shorten may end up at the end of next week. Now, finally, in the couple of minutes we've got left, one announcement from the... OK, we're looking here at something I was going to tell you about in just a moment. In fact, the Press Gallery Midwinter Ball is on Wednesday night this week, and a number of auction items up for grabs there that you should get online and start bidding. midwinterball.com.au. As you've probably seen there, go to the Prime Minister's 11 cricket, dinner at the Lodge, cycling and breakfast with Tony Abbott, and also dinner with Malcolm Turnbull and Julie Bishop. Not to mention dinner with some Press Gallery luminaries as well. Plenty of good bids on there already. We're hoping to raise a lot of money for charity. As you can see, a number of charities at the bottom of the screen that will benefit from this charity auction. So get online and start bidding. A quick plug there for them. But the issue I was going to talk to you just finally about, which I'm sure you'll get online and bid for once we're off air, the local government referendum. The Minister, Anthony Albanese, Minister for Local Government, today announced some funding for both sides of this. $10 million for the Yes campaign, which the government and opposition backed, but only $500,000 for the No case. And that's based on the fact that that's how the parliamentary vote went on this, the proportion. Graham, is that fair, though, $500,000 versus $10 million?
I should declare that I advise the local government people on how to get to this stage. But
well
sometimes politicians are just stupid. The last thing you want to do is to give the No case, ammunition about fairness. We know the Western Australians, the Victorians, are going to vote against. The rest of the country's a bit all over the place. But to give the No case this sort of free kick,
It's
the 10 million to half a million.
$500,000.
And you think, oh, fellas, what were you thinking?
I mean, yeah, Bruce, just quickly on that. Anthony Albanese says, look, you look at the vote in the Parliament and that's reflective of how the vote went, which is true, but it doesn't seem fair, does it?
Well, they are allocating $11 million, though, for a presentation of the yes and no case, as I understand it from reading the media. So it's not that there won't be any yes or no case.
It's most of that to the yes case.
Well, is that right? I've probably misread the piece.
I'll
then.
send it to you. I'll send it to you.
It doesn't say, though, that the states won't be supporting it. There won't be other supporters for it. If there is overwhelming endorsement for the proposition from within the Parliament, I guess you can see the logic in the minister's argument.
All right, we're going to have to wrap it up there. Bruce Hawker, Grahame Morris, good to talk to you both again. We'll catch up next week, see where we're up to then. Appreciate it. Now we'll take a quick break. Then